Hello and welcome everyone to BizzyWeb and Oggi Pro's Reclaim Your Sales event. I am Dave Meyer and I have with me Tony Biel. Hey, Tony.
Hey, hello.
Hey, we are going to talk to you about how to reclaim your sales. It's incredibly important that you understand who your best prospects are and how to automate the engagement process to meet your customers' needs. This is a little bit of a departure from normal things that I do at BizzyWeb, and I really wanted to bring Tony in to talk about how to rank and categorize your people. If you're wondering who the heck these crazy folks are, well, here's a little bit about us. And of course, you know all about me, I hope, or we've all been together. Actually, half of you probably don't. So I am the owner of BizzyWeb, which is a growth marketing agency located just outside Minneapolis. BizzyWeb's been around for 22 years now, and we have a team of 16 that helps people to focus on growing their business, doing all of the marketing, the website stuff, the content, and the engagement processes to get you where you need to go. In addition to doing BizzyWeb, where I'm the owner and CEO, I also am a speaker and trainer for Google and for HubSpot. So I make a big part of my life the act of training people and getting people engaged and connected. There's my contact info. I want to give Tony a second to just kind of introduce himself. So Tony.
Hey, thanks everybody. I'm super happy to be here too. I have 20 years experience from coming down the sales rope, as I call it. 14 of those years has been on the sales leadership side. And I love sales strategy. I love working with people to help them, get from point A to point B with their business. Usually that involves revenue growth. And those are the things that I really like. I'm part of a great company called Oggi Professional Services, and we work with senior level finance and accounting professionals and finding them right fits for their next steps in their professional growth. So thanks for having me.
Perfect. Thank you, Tony. And everybody knows a little bit, so you know kind of where we're coming at and where we're trying to get into this from. At BizzyWeb, and the services that we provide to our customers include the full gamut of driving attention and traffic to our customers, and then helping those customers convert their connections and their leads. And so as we look through our agenda today, we're going to start with Tony, and he's going to show you how to identify your favorite clients, who those real winners are, and how to actually set a process around ranking those people so that you're only working with the people that you're super excited to work with. It's all about managing and maintaining a persona. And so we're going to talk through about how to maintain a focus on your best prospects for growth. I'm going to talk then about how to work forward from who those people are to identify who your absolute best persona is, to kind of anonymize and always focus on the right people, and then how to systematically engage those people with helpful and informative content to almost make it like a choose your own adventure. Because especially in B2B businesses, oftentimes it takes up to 80 clicks before a B2B audience will engage with a business in order to initiate a sale. So we need to have the content and the details and the help in order to get them to that space. And then I'm going to show you how to automate and close that loop. We're going to round up with some resources and some other things to do, and a special offer, of course, because this is an event intended to help you grow your business. So without further ado, then I am going to hand it over to Tony. Tony, take it away.
Well, thanks again, Dave. And I like to start just with a little bit more about me. Obviously, having a quick intro on my professional career is a nice gloss over, but I'm from Minneapolis. I grew up here, loved it. I moved away for a stint of about 7 years and lived in North Carolina and Cairo, Egypt, within that time for a long period of time. I went to the University of Minnesota, and I have 3 grown children, which I am super proud to say they are all off the payroll. That's a big win that I take very with a lot of pride. But because we lived in North Carolina, they are huge UNC Tar Heel basketball fans. And I'm that bad dad who has made the statement that said, you know, kids, it's really not a sport unless it's played with a puck. I mean, come on, we're from Minnesota. Anyway, my favorite author is Jim Collins. Good, great book. My favorite place on earth is not Cairo, Egypt. It is anywhere on or near water. So kind of the opposite. And I think what 2020 taught me is I will never get tired of Chinese takeout. I simply love it, and we'll never get tired of it. So enough about me, but let's get started. Basically, sales and marketing is a race. It has so many parallels with NASCAR racing. It's kind of crazy, right? It's fast paced. It's exciting. You never really know what's going to happen next, and it looks like you have to be prepared to do anything on the fly, right? But most importantly, it is a team sport, and it is imperative that you have a strategy. You have the right people in the right seats on your team. You have to have a game day plan. Every time it is game day and it's not a practice run, you have to have a plan on what needs to happen that day. In sales, in particularly, your game day is 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, right? Not once on Sunday like NASCAR. But I think the thing that really brings it all together, that all teams have and share that are most successful, is they have an alignment on what a win looks like. We have to know where that finish line is, what it's going to take to get there, and then all of those pieces have to work in sync in order for us to cross it, right? So unfortunately, unlike NASCAR, we don't have the opportunity basically to pull into the pits and take a break and have everything fixed around us, right? And a lot of times we get flat tires, we run into challenges, or we go on long periods where we're just in a holding position within the pack, right? Maybe we haven't won anything in the last year. 2020, a lot of people didn't win a lot, but maybe we haven't really won a good trophy in the last couple of years, right? So when we start kind of seeing that, hey, I would really like to pull in the pits and have somebody fix this and bring in a couple, new trophy clients, we basically have to kind of step back and make sure that we get the team back in alignment, right? If we've done great things in the past and suddenly we're on a kind of a drought, or the world has evolved around us and we haven't adjusted to it, we have to regain what good looks like and what that trophy looks like that we all want, right? Now this picture, that last picture anyway, I just want to make it clear that I did find that on the internet machine. So it is obviously true that you can change a tire on the fly. So I love that picture. So what is a trophy client? What is an A-list, top tier, perfect fit client look like, right? These are the clients that we all have, or that our company has, that everybody loves to work with. Sales obviously has a great relationship, but when these people come into the office and visit, or back in the day when they would come into the office and visit, you would recognize them because people would just stop to say hi. They would stop and introduce themselves if they didn't know, if they didn't, they had heard they were going to be in the office because there was an announcement board on there, and they want to shake their hands, right? These are the people that the company has the greatest relationships with. Now, typically they fall in that, highest revenue and highest profitability producer list. Those are the clients, or the types of businesses that we do best, and that we obviously are offering or delivering on for those clients that stick with us for a long period of time. Now, the holiday gift card and gift list is always a thing. These people definitely fall in there. They may be on the top of that list, or the first ones on mind when somebody asks you, hey, where are you gonna, who do you want to send cards to this year? And they also are those ones that we work with, or we might spend time outside of work, more in a social environment, making sure that we're showing our appreciation, taking them to top golf, doing some things that are outside of just the thank you and the office visits, right? But this is, really the challenge for sales and marketing, and one of those things that we face on a regular basis is finding new ones like this, right? And we have to know what they look like and what they feel like in order to get ones identified at that prospect stage, in order for them to grow into obviously the ones that everybody knows, everybody loves to work with. What that will typically look like is this when we go out and we're looking for new trophy clients. Now, everybody knows the Where's Waldo puzzle, right? Now, Waldo in these puzzles is the trophy. You find Waldo, you win. Everything else in this puzzle is a distraction, or basically visual noise that keeps you guessing about where Waldo is, right? But we have clues going into that puzzle about what Waldo is or what he looks like. We know he likes crowds. We know he wears a striped sweater. We know he has a matching stocking cap. He wears funny glasses. He carries a cane, and sometimes he even wears a man purse, which I think is awesome. But those are 7 clear descriptors or indicators of what that trophy or what wins this game, right? So ultimately, there isn't a Waldo. There he is. We have to find that every time we're going out and finding new prospects, right? If we stay focused on if Waldo represents the potential new perfect client for us, we have to be focused on finding Waldo and avoiding all the other distractions and noise. So if we could work with all Waldos, that would be great, right? And there is a thing called the land of Waldos. We can duplicate Waldos. It is possible, but it also, just like NASCAR or professional sport, it takes deliberate and sustained business practices in order to get here. NASCAR is not just a pastime sport, right? To them, it is, you have to be on your game every day, and you have to put focus to it. So ultimately, we need to get sales and marketing aligned, right? If sales and marketing are aligned on that game day play, on what we're going after, who we're communicating with, our world is better. The elements of that, what a sales and marketing team actually needs to be in alignment on is, we have to know what the target market is. We have to know who our ideal client profile, what that looks like. I think of CSI, like being able to profile that and have that descriptor of exactly who we're looking to talk to as our ideal client profile, and being able to communicate that to everybody we talk to. Obviously, we need to know what the pain points are and what our unique value story is, how we solve those problems. But having that unified client experience is also a big thing, because the unified client experience is actually those consistent experiences our best clients have working with us, and they want to tell everybody else about. So knowing what those experiences are and being able to articulate them as we're talking about, as we're networking and engaging and looking for these new clients in that Where's Waldo puzzle, that becomes super important, because we want our Waldos telling other Waldos about us, right? And then obviously we have to take all of the success that we have, and we have to plug in simple tools, processes, systems, so that we can duplicate that success. Now, salespeople can, come in all shapes and colors, shapes, sizes, and colors, right? And yes, salespeople can be challenging. right? So there's basically 3 different styles to approaching sales. You have the wide net caster, right? The guy or the person will throw a wide net out. Every time they reel that net back in, they're just hoping that there's a trophy in there. They just, they are willing to sift through all the cans and the seaweed and the small fish that they've brought in order to hopefully snag a trophy as they're pulling that in, right? Then you also have the hand holder. And the hand holder approach basically is, I'm going to bring in a new client in the hopes that they will someday grow up to be a trophy client, right? And a lot of times what happens is we can hold on to that client that might not have been a right fit, that somebody might have seen potential in. And sometimes we hold on so long that those people actually fall into the, painful and unprofitable category versus being put on the trophy pedestal at our company meetings, right? And then the third approach, obviously we all know him, the one-man sales guy. Not a lot of explanation needed here. This person just has all the answers, knows everything, and whatever he brings in is money, and that's just everybody's just got to deal with it. I knew one person one time, one salesperson that said, "Hey, don't come to me complaining about what's on our marketing brochure if I bring it in as business." Okay, so that's not a real good approach to, hey, let's bring in the types of clients that we want to work with, or bring in the type of work that we do best that actually is healthy for the company and for our teams to be prosperous there. So that's where it comes down to having all those different approaches and styles. It comes, imperative, I've used that word too many times, but it's super important to have those duplicatable processes and systems to keep everybody in alignment. I used and developed a tool which I call the A-List Prospect Scouting Report, which is a cross between a sales tool and a qualification tool, right? At the top of the tool, we have a very clear definition of who we're seeking to talk to. Who are we talking with? What are maybe the pain points that they're having, or the place that they're at within their business life cycle that we service best. We have a little 3 or 4 bullet points of what our specialty is, because yes, we have to talk about ourselves at some point and what we deliver on a value. But again, that's that story about, let's talk about the things that we do best, that everybody loves to do within our organization, that keeps us afloat, right? And then most importantly, what are the clients' experiences that most of our top clients have working with us? If we can have all of those things readily available for our salespeople, it keeps consistency across the board. And then the bottom part are those 7 pieces that I was talking about, those descriptors of Waldo. 7 qualifying questions about that client. How do they act? How do they look? Where are they in their life cycle? What are those things that are important, that are duplicates of where those top trophies were when they came in, when they joined, or when we brought them in to service them. Dave's going through the tool in a little bit more detail, and this shows you, kind of the different things. And each one of those open dots that he's clicking on is a spectrum. So the top one is like perfect. This is the perfect case scenario. Like if we just use the top one, right? The prospect's ability to trust us to lead a process, right? They're either embracing that they're purchasing this process and there's value that we're bringing to them. On the other side of that spectrum, which is the bottom, we might have heard stuff that says, yeah, we've done that before. I don't need that piece of your process. I just want to skip that part and do this, right? Those are the ones that fit Dave and BizzyWeb the best, but there's obviously a spectrum of which to score those clients in the qualification stage, and then working off of a line in the sand that says, hey, if our prospects aren't scoring above this line in these 7 descriptors, they're probably not the best fit for us. and we're going to assign our pre-sales resources in order to close that business accordingly. Somebody scores high, obviously we want the A team in, making sure we're getting that business and we're locking it down. If it's really, really low, we might say, let's take a pass, or this prospect has to do or have these things in order for us to really be beneficial and a value to them. Thanks for that, walking through that, Dave. So obviously there's benefits to having your sales and marketing team aligned, right? Things that you will start to see when those things happen, and you can tell a company usually kind of by these things if you get to know them well enough, right? There starts to be an upgrade in those new client relationships. The team, not only the sales and marketing team, but the delivery team, the finance team, the operations team, they're all confident about where the business is going and that we have a plan for profitable growth, right? That's security to them. That alignment, obviously, then it affects how much our teams are engaged and what their productivity levels are. So across the company, you will see a rise in that. And that basically, when people are doing things and are confident and they're doing the things that they like to do, the culture gets stronger. People like coming to work, there's positivity in the air, and things in that flywheel is just moving, and that's how growth happens, right? But obviously there are times we get stuck and we have, everybody's at a point A and we want to get to point B, whatever that looks like. There's a light on top of the hill, in everybody's world. In order to get there, I've just described it as using a process I learned a long time ago called the learn, do, measure method, right? You have to, just like golf, you have to learn, that it's a sport, understand what it is, know what the rules are, and then say, hey, yeah, it's something I'd be interested in learning or trying. And then you go and do it, right? Then you're taking what you've learned and you're applying it, you're doing something with it. You're implementing, the tips and all the other instructions that, whoever it was that took you out that first time is giving you, and you're putting them into practice. And the only way to know if you're getting any better is to measure that. And that measurement makes things, tells you if you're growing or not, right? It is that sustained practice and continuing to go through this process of learning, doing it, and measuring it that helps us grow. Now, when we learn something new, like in these webinars or when you're talking to clients and you've learned something new, you have to not only like take that and download it yourself, but you also have to share that with others, right? So if we've learned, hey, this type of client has been really, great for our business, great for our team, those are the things we want to make sure we're sharing and articulating to our team very clearly how they're going to be able to take that and run with it and not have to recreate the wheel. Normally I'd be like in a group or in front of everybody going, does that make sense? And I'd see a lot of heads nodding or something like that, or hands come up, right? But at the end of the day, by going through this growth process, our the thing that we're all, how we're all built is we all love taking home trophies. We all love the things that is a trophy to us. In Minnesota, this is a trophy, right? If you live on the East or West Coast, that trophy probably looks like something that came out of the ocean, not this prehistoric creature, right? So we all have different definitions of what those trophies are, but we also have to know hey, are we fishing in the right pond? Are we doing the things that we know have created the success in the past, right? And do we want to, make sure that we take the team along with us in order to show them that, not hold that little honey hole close to the chest, but say, hey, this is what's worked in my honey hole. We need to go find a whole bunch of other ones within this lake, right? And at the end of the day, we are selling and we are creating experiences. You have to have a great experience in order for your clients to be happy. But it's that experience is also what hooks people that we are talking to, that we are making sure, hey, as a prospect, we have everything it takes for you to have that same experience that our best clients have, right? You fit us and we fit you. There's a saying in the next slide that says, hey, people like us doing business with people like us, right? That is the end goal, is people want that experience. They want to come in and be treated like a trophy client. And actually, if we flip this whole thing around, your prospects are looking at you as a vendor the exact same way. They've had great experiences with other vendors, and they are looking for those little signs and signals, and probably 7 characteristics that say, or descriptors that say, yeah, you fit what my past experience has been with other vendors. So this is at the end of the day, it's that experience that we want to capture. But once we have, then we have to like put those processes and systems in place in order for our teams to be successful like we were, right? And it's sharing that. Dave has a great process for automating some of those processes and systems. So again, we can duplicate them without having to recreate the wheel or a lot of learning how to lift new heavy things along the way. So Dave, I'll turn that over to you.
Sounds good. Thanks, Tony. And so if you then understand who you're trying to reach and what makes them a good fit, if we get a chance to really apply and integrate who our best fit clients are and what that means to us, we can then take into account what those people really need. People are thinking differently now than ever before. Our buying behavior is much different. It's completely virtual in many cases. And so you need to really take this back and say, how can I deliver in this new weird virtual world the content and the information that my customers need now that I know exactly who they are and how I can give them exactly what they're looking for. It's like finding things on a map, right? We need to attract our customers and give them just the information that they're looking for at the time that they're looking for it to give them the next step. It's almost like a choose your own adventure that we need to be building now for our customers, instead of just, exploding out onto the scene and saying, I can do all of these wonderful, crazy things and just shouting on a corner, right? So it's a much different thing now. The customer is 100% in control. We don't have offsite conferences or expos, and you can't do a booth anymore. You can do virtual booths, but again, the power is in the hands of the customer now. So you first need to know exactly who those people are, and then you also need to know what is going to engage them at every step. As I mentioned at the beginning, I'm a speaker and trainer for Google as well. And one of the things that Google really tries to hammer home as what the experience is there are micro moments that every customer of yours is looking through that are those key things that are going to be the lever that are going to let them start the engagement process. It's absolutely a buyer's journey where people are thinking about what you do before they probably know who you are. And so how do you engage with them? It's all about having contacts and making individual connections with the people that matter most. So having a contact database, otherwise known as a CRM, can be that central hub of all of your business connections and interactions and integrations. If you have a CRM that's set up correctly, and I'm going to share a little bit about how to automate via CRM in a little bit, but how do you know that you're engaging with them at every step? How do you know when they visit your website? And if they open and download a video, or if they are opening an email or going to your content and ingraining what they're looking for. As I mentioned before, it takes sometimes up to 80 clicks before a customer is comfortable enough in their purchase decision that they're going to contact a business. So it's incredibly important, as Tony said, to come back to your buyer personas. Again, personas are completely fictionalized, best fit customers. So you take Tony's tools and you put it all together and you say, okay, who am I looking to reach? When are they going to make that decision? What is success for them? And how can I make them successful by giving them that next step? Building a buyer persona is the art of creating something that you can reference, not only as a marketing team, but also as a sales team. You need to think about what makes that person excited about working with you. The more pieces of information that are going to help raise their interest and raise their engagement, the better off you're going to be. You need to know where they are and what makes them tick. So what influences them? In this case, Susan is super interested in brands like Scary Mama. She's interested in lots of things on Facebook. She's checking WebMD to see, what's available for things that she's looking for health and frustration for her kids. She's a mom and a wife who is the backbone of her family. She's trying to do a number of things. What are her frustrations, right? She hates waiting. She hates dealing with insurance companies, and she doesn't want to have to be patient and facilitate everything. She just wants that information to come to her. You can see this as an example of a healthcare company that we work with. As you look at building that persona, then you're really trying to get into their motivations and their behaviors. Why are they looking for your product or service? What are those big things that are getting them to the next step in that buyer process? And how do you get them there? You want to keep the persona fictional but specific, right? So you can start by just writing your absolute favorite customer that you wish you had 10 more of, but then you want to remove their name and kind of think broadly. Who's that kind of person at another company or another organization? Or if you're a B2C organization, the kind of person that has the same need that you can fill. So choose a primary persona and start with that one. A lot of times companies that we work with want to start with like 5 personas. Like, well, we can work with anybody. If you're trying to work with anybody, you're not going to work with anybody. You need to be very specific on who you reach, and you need to write that content for those people. So starting with the persona, you're going to write for your customer. Every blog post, every video, every email you send, you could almost say, hey, Bob, or hey, Mary, and then write exactly what's going to be most important for them at that key inflection point in their buying journey. So as you look at your website, you should have those calls to action and the content right at the top of that page that says, for X kind of person, this is what you do. One of the biggest mistakes that most businesses do is they write all about me, 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 my business, what I do, how long we've been in business, and why you should trust us. It's all about what are the needs that you fill for your customer. We serve people that need X. And for those people that need X, we provide the solution. What's that solution? And then give them the next step. So in social media, where do they hang out? Are they Facebookers? Are they Googlers? Are they on TikTok? And so you need to get your dance game on, right? What is that? For advertising, if you're going to do ads on Facebook or LinkedIn or Google or YouTube, what are those things that are going to engage them? It's probably not, again, all about you. It's probably mostly about what that specific need is that you fill for them. So connecting your personas, you're again going to read your buyer's story. This is where the tool that Tony has authored comes into play. So we're looking for decision makers and what they do. Are they a CEO? Are they a project owner, a person with authority, but a couple levels down, a person with no authority, or they just don't have any access at all, right? And if you're using a tool to rank and score what that is, that's going to help you be much more targeted on the kind of content that's going to work for them. If my top choice is to get a CEO, you're going to want to write in very clear, concise, specific language. If you're trying to reach a marketing person that's maybe an influencer to those people, you want to be a little bit more tactical, right? It's the number of feet methodology. 30,000 feet is probably the CEO level, 10,000 or 500 feet is probably very interactive. And both are great as approaches. You just have to figure out which one of those kinds of people is going to be the best entree into your buyer's journey. So again, as we come back to our journey, what are the individual connections and the contacts that are going to lead us to that next step, that are going to help them almost make it into a choose your own adventure, where they see something that they're interested in, and then they take that first step, right? They fill out a form to download a document. You're going to get a couple of options for that at the end of this presentation, for example, and we're going to send you an email afterwards with the opportunity to download something and do a demo of the buyer tool. But as you look at your journey, it goes from awareness to consideration to purchasing, which is our big win. But then that's not enough. You need to also retain and get them to be advocates for you. So it's very much, Tony mentioned it a couple of times, it's a flywheel. You want to attract, engage, and delight, and keep people coming back for more by giving them exactly what they want, exactly when they want it. So as you look at this through a buyer's journey path, the first part of awareness, they have a problem. They've identified that there's some sort of a need. That's the Google micro moment. What is the thing that's going to make them grab their phone out of their pocket or out of their purse and say, I need to do this, right? You're going to do, hey, include your tool of choice. Okay, Alexa, give me this, or okay, Google, do this, and take them to that next step. And so what is that problem? And there are a lot of tools that'll help you get there, whether it's public relations or online ads, maybe even word of mouth. How can you help foster that at every point in the process? As they consider you, they already know you. They're on your website. They have your page open. They've responded to an email. How can you dig deeper and give them more signals that you are the right person to work with them? So then you're trying to build trust. First one is trying to grab their attention. You've got them in the house. Now you're trying to get them to trust you enough to give you the information that you're looking for in order to help keep interacting with them. This is where most of those 80 clicks are going to come in. Reviews from other customers, blog posts, media, advertising, all of this is going to come in and help deepen that relationship. This is really where inbound marketing can really help and make that into that choose your own adventure. If someone visits my website and they download the SEO analysis tool, or if they go in and they're looking for the tips to building an inbound marketing methodology for manufacturing, for example, all of that is part of a process. And it's my job to give them more of what they're looking for, and then help if they stray off that path to keep giving them what they want, no matter where they are in that path. Big one, of course, is the purchase. So I want to have a great website that has lots of wonderful calls to action. If it's an e-commerce, you want to smooth out that role or that purchase process. You don't want to make people log all the way in or become full members and ask or answer 50 questions in order to become a customer of yours. Give me your email address, enter your customer information. Ideally, you're using something like Apple Pay or Google Pay or some other payment tool to make it as easy as possible to do that transaction. But even if you're a B2B organization, you want to get them to the next step in the interaction of working with you. So you're going to work on cultivating a lead. And that's where a CRM comes in, because you're going to be interacting with them and you're going to give them some next steps. Of course, you want to make sure that they keep coming back. So you want to make sure that people are as happy as possible with you. There's frequently asked questions that you can do. BizzyWeb is actually doing a series of customer-oriented webinars this year, specifically designed to help our existing customers get more out of what they're doing with us and how we help deliver. And so you're going to see those if you're a customer of ours. I think our first one is coming up in March. So how to help you excel in what we do for you, right? How to make you look good to your boss if you've chosen us. And then advocacy, give them those extra steps and keep them coming back for more. This is where the newsletters come in. This is coming back into social media and blogs. It's all part of keeping that flywheel moving and going from attract to engage to delight, which leads to more attract and engage and delight. So the entire buyer's journey then is a path. And you can see this more as a circle than anything else, but I think with all of the different inputs that it takes, I like to have this kind of spelled out in a linear fashion. But imagine this kind of coming back almost as a Mobius strip. You can jump on or off this particular carousel at any moment. And so asking yourself, are you giving people the kind of content that people are going to find helpful? Are they finding everything that they need? Are you letting them wander into the weeds with you and giving you, or you giving them enough information so that they're comfortable with their buying decision? And are you following up with them the way they expect? This is where having a good persona and understanding who that person is and what their buyer's journey looks like in order to keep giving them value. And it's a little bit different for every person. So making sure that you're giving them the kinds of things that they need and that they expect. This is where having a great system, a CRM, a fully integrated tool set. I like HubSpot because it lets you do marketing and sales and service and wrap that all up into one core benefit. It works with marketers where you're developing MQLs or marketing qualified leads. You develop that into sales qualified leads where the sales people pick that up and they connect and they engage. And the tool keeps giving people more information and helping to warm up that lead and deepen that relationship, all without driving things in people's paths and making it interruptive. Content that people don't want delivered online is called spam. You don't want to spam people. You want to give them more. It's the difference between having a conversation at a cocktail party. Remember those? Having a cocktail party conversation where it's just one person droning on and on and on about his turtle collection or whatever that is, versus someone that asks great questions. And based on those questions is giving you more helpful or interesting information. The people that we find most fascinating are the people that draw things out from us and get us talking about ourselves. So that's what great marketing and great salesmanship looks like. There's no one silver bullet. So implementing and testing, Tony talked about this. You need to measure at every step and make sure that you're really connecting with your people. My son is a swimmer and my daughter is in volleyball. And for swimming, they don't just throw those guys in the pool and say, guys, go have fun. They measure lap times. And inside of those lap times, if you're not shaving a few seconds off at every meet, something's happening. You need to keep adjusting your approach and maybe lengthening out your stroke or trying something else, right? Maybe in volleyball, you need to work on your vertical or get better at digs, right? So what is that that's not working in your business? Where are people falling out of your buyer's journey? Those are the points to start focusing on to add more value. In order to get found, you need to have content that speaks to people. So just having all of that content in one place, and actually in one place, I mean like all across the online world, wherever those people hang out, is going to be important. But every time they click, every time they interact, every time you make a call, it should all be going into a centralized contact database, a CRM. A CRM isn't just a accountant's dream. It is a tool to help you keep track of every interaction that you're making with anyone. Some tools are fantastic and make this easy. Some tools make it hard. I guarantee if you're working out of an Excel spreadsheet or trying to shuffle Post-it notes on your desk, CRM is going to strike terror into your heart. But if you're using a tool where it's easy and it's delightful and you can just answer emails like you always have and it magically goes into that database, and then you can enlist or enroll people into a workflow that's going to proactively interact and engage with them, that's where the magic starts happening. And that's why I want to also talk about automation. Using a software that helps you do this. Again, my favorite is HubSpot, but there's lots out there. You can set workflows based on actions. So if someone fills out a form, and this is right off of our website, off of our back end, if someone fills out a form, we set them to a marketing qualified lead in the system that notifies the sales team so that they can research them and make more additional feedback if needed. We're going to set the property owner to whoever is in our system. Sometimes companies have territories. Sometimes we have specialists. Sometimes we just randomly assign based on the size of your sales team. And then sending out a notification email in this example. You want to move from a call to action on your website, which might look like this: get better results with user-centered web design and download the free ebook. You've probably seen this a lot, especially if you're a customer or know us, but get some extremely low bar to have people cross in order to get some information from them so that you can be more helpful. They click on that call to action, download our free book, they get to a landing page. That landing page is not going to overwhelm with help with information. It's not going to, have them ask 100 questions. In this case, it's 3 questions. What's your name and address? But then what's your website? And how long has it been since you've redesigned your site? I'm not asking a lot there. From there, I'm going to actually give them what they're looking for and let them download the guide. From there, however, that's when we're going to start giving them more information. So they get the chance to download this guide. I'm going to send them an email with the guide. If they open it, fantastic. I'm going to give them more about that kind of information. If they don't open it, I might take a half step back and say, based on what I know about this kind of person, if they've downloaded this form or this document, or they're interested in it, they're probably looking at 1 or 2 or 3 things. So I'm going to give them more options to recapture that engagement. Again, attract, engage, and delight are the 3 phases of the buyer's journey. And so connecting with people and helping capture their attention and getting them something that's just, going to perk their ears up a little bit is step 1. Engaging is that great person at a cocktail party that asks those good questions. Your tools should be able to give them more information based on what they're doing. It should, in a good or a well-delivered tool, it should feel like a natural progression, where if I'm interested in something, I'm getting more of that. And if I'm not interested, I don't see the stuff that I'm not interested in. That's the difference, again, between spam and a helpful and proactive workflow or life cycle engagement. So, and then of course, delight, giving them a chance to get back, to give them more, to reconnect, and to do what you need to. It looks like this on a flywheel basis. Your customers and your CRM are at the center, but then you want to attract and engage and delight people to keep them coming back for more. Here's a look at how automation might look. So again, we have a landing page that gives people some content. In this case, again, this is our growth-driven design, user-centered design landing page. People want the ebook, and so they're going to fill out this form. They get there, and then we get them to download the guide. And then from there, we take them simply into the machine. So inside of our system, this gives us a dashboard to keep track of everything that we're doing. So out of this page in the past month, we've had 194 views, and 31 people out of that submission rate has filled out the contacts. About 80% of people bounced off that page. They got to that form and they're like, not yet, not now, or they just left, right? So that tells you if your bounce rate is very high, that tells you that you're probably not meeting the expectation that they got when they clicked on that. So if you offered a free ebook and then you have your free ebook all the way down at the bottom in itty bitty type, your bounce rate is going to be very high. If they're looking for ebook and they get to a page that says download the ebook, just give us your name, your bounce rate is going to go lower and you're going to improve your conversions. From there, you're going to be able to see what kind of content is in there. Is that coming from specific places? And then we can look at the reports to look at overviews. Is social media driving most of that traffic? Are people engaging with us at what level? Is our paid search, is our advertising doing well? On average, advertising is going to have a higher bounce rate than organic because in organic, people are proactively searching you out on Google. They've clicked on your link. With advertising, a lot of times you've captured their attention and they're like, oh, that's interesting. They click on it and they're like, oh, that's not for me, right? So you want to be careful with that. And again, make sure that you're as clear cut as possible when you're getting people into your journey. If you're promising something with a click, with a link, with an ad, you need to meet that expectation at the result of that click. If your advertising goes to a homepage and it turns into Where's Waldo, where they need to look all over your website in order to find content, guess what they're going to do? They're going to give up. They're going to move on to somebody that gets what they're looking for and that can deliver it as quickly as possible. And that leads us into the CRM. In this case, this is everything that I'm doing. And so I can see with my CRM, every time someone's visited my website, every time they've downloaded a web page, every time they've looked at a page. A lot of times with a good system, you can see if you share with them a document, you can see how long they're spending on individual pages. And then you can also automate that to give them more of what they're looking for based on that. So again, we go back to that and we say, okay, they've downloaded the white paper. If they hang out on page 5, which is all about web design, I'm going to give them more about web design. So I can set that. And again, this is what happens inside of our process, but I may need to just wait a couple of days. And again, I'm testing and measuring and making sure that this makes sense. And then I'm going to send them another email. And that leads to a yes, no. So either they have opened that document and engaged with it, or if they haven't, I'm going to take a half step back and re-engage that customer. And then if they do, I'm going to take them in there and I'm going to get them right into the information that they're looking for and keep completing the process. Again, it's important to measure all of this information and all of this content. And if you're not meeting the expectations, if you're not giving them what they want, the reports are going to tell you that. You're going to have high bounce rates. You're not going to have a lot of completions. Your advertising isn't going to be opened or received. And you're just going to want to continually improve the results so that you're getting slightly better every time. There's a compound effect. When you do something just a little bit better every single time, if you learn and you tweak, you're going to see dramatically different results at the end of a year or a month than you are if you just kind of shoot from the hip and everybody jumps in the pool and plays water polo. You're never going to get fast in lap times if you're not measuring and moving forward. So making sure that your content is as interesting and informative and helpful as possible, making sure that you're shareable, that you're useful, that you're helpful, that you're giving them, again, what they're looking for, but then also hitting them right where their win is going to be is incredibly important. So I want to take a step back and just give you the opportunity, and Tony can join me on this again, where we're going to do some questions. If you do have specific questions, I'd love to hear them. We still have everybody that joined us still with us, so evidently we're doing something right. Either that or you've all taken a nap on your desk, and I appreciate that as well, because it's a big day and it's a long day for everybody. But what can we do to help you? If you have specific questions, now's the time to ask those. While we do let people go into the Q&A tool in Zoom and ask those questions, if you're watching this after the fact, go ahead and log an email. You can send me a note at dave@bizzyweb.com, or you can send Tony an email at tbiel@oggipro.com. My promise to you as someone who's downloaded or who's attended our event, you're going to get an email after this with an opportunity to download a handy guide. This isn't going to automatically get you into our sales process. This is just going to help you get more information based on what you're looking for. If you're interested in the Criterion app, again, that's this fantastic tool that Tony has built that lets you rank your customers based on, or your leads based on criteria that you set. And when you're done with that, when you click this and submit, it actually submits it into HubSpot or your CRM of choice. That's a great tool that we'd love to help you check out and demo. And of course, sign up for our next events at bizzyweb.com/events if you're interested in more information. I'm talking for Google all the time. We've got understanding the relationship between SEO and content coming up. Trigby is going to be delivering that one next week. And if you're interested in YouTube or websites or how to reach customers, that's all available here. So would love to have you there. Tony, what else would you like to share?
Well, I'm really glad to hear that we didn't scare anybody away, and the group stayed at least halfway through after my piece there. So that's great to hear. And yeah, I mean, I think from, obviously, thanks for going through the Oggi website and what we do there. Like I said, working with senior level finance and accounting people and finding them right seats and right placements for where they're at in their career, whether that's contracting or they're looking for a new home on the full-time side. We do that, as well as executive search for everything across the board outside of just finance and accounting as well. So I love helping people get from point A to point B, whether that's getting better at your craft or if it's moving professionally into those next stages and steps that are right for you to reach that light on top of the hill. I am always open to meeting great people and love helping others. So, keep my contact information. Obviously, you can reach out even if you're networking. I know a lot of people in the business and been around the block a couple times, so it's good to have a good network. And like I said, I always look forward to meeting good people that are in growth mindsets. So
Awesome.
Dave, I appreciate being on this and doing this with you. It's been fantastic, and it's a great way to spend a lunch hour.
Absolutely. This has been super fun. Tony, thank you very much for hanging out with me. If you want to get a hold of Tony, his contact was in there. And again, you're going to get an email as a attendee with more information and a couple other things that you can do if you want to try out the Criterion tool to start limiting the people that you're engaging with and helping to pre-rank them so that you're targeting better. That's a great next step. And I'm partnering with Tony on offering that tool to folks. So you can talk to either of us on that. And just stay in touch. You're a customer and a family member of ours. And so thank you all very much to all the folks that have signed in today. We really appreciate it.
And we're even going to let people get back to work on time.
I think so. I think so. This is fantastic. Well, I think we're at time and we don't have any questions. So if you do have anything, by all means, email us, dave@bizzyweb.com, tbiel@oggpro.com. We'd love to keep up with you, or if you're watching this after the event, you can just post a comment or send us an email as well.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. And I'll sign off the way I always do. Hope this helped you generate buzz without getting stung. Cool. Take care, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.